There's a situation down here in Georgia that deserves a little bit more attention. So I've decided to start screaming at the top of my lungs. And of course, I'm talking about the deaths of 19-year-old twins, Kadir and Nazir Lewis. Their bodies were found on a hiking trail on Bell Mountain, which is near Hiawassee, Georgia. Just so you know, that is close to 2 hours away from their home in Lawrenceville. Early reports were from authorities that they believed this to be a schmurder-schmuicide, where one brother unalived the other and then unalived himself. Now, I call bullshit. I call big time bullshit. And luckily so is the family, and it's starting to gain some traction. I just want to remind you all that when Ahmaud Arbery was schmurdered, it took a month before the police were like, yeah, perhaps we should look into this. Maybe there's a little bit more here. And then they ended up convicting a couple of guys for killing him. So I do think we need to look a little bit further. If GBI just thought they'd be like, case closed, no one's gonna ask any questions, you're wrong, because we're gonna start asking questions. None of this adds up. The brothers were scheduled to take a 7 a.m. flight to Boston to visit friends. Apparently never made it to the flight. Instead, 24 hours later, their bodies were found 90 miles north of their home. So the complete opposite direction of the airport. If you go from Lawrenceville to the airport, you're going due south. Why would they suddenly get in the car and drive 90 minutes north? I find it particularly strange since the vast majority, 78% of these types of crimes take place in the home. Why would they drive 90 miles north to the middle of the mountains? Most people who do this type of thing, you unalive someone else because there's a reason. They upset you, they're cheating on you, they hurt you, they harmed you, they robbed from you. And then because you don't want to face retribution, you unalive yourself. Usually there's this great big story behind why people did this. And they usually do it, 78% of the time, they do it in the home. So why would you get in your car and drive 2 hours to the middle of the mountains, hike out to the middle of a hiking trail and choose to do it there? It makes no sense. I mean, listen, I'm not an investigator. I'm not a cop. I don't do this for a living, but I just want to call this out. To make this drive from their home in Lawrenceville up to Hiawassee, a good portion of the time, probably at least an hour of it, you're on 985, which is a major interstate. So I got to ask you this question. You mean to tell me there's not a single camera? There isn't a single camera anywhere. Any of those off ramps, any of the freeway signs, there isn't a single, like for the weather, like there isn't a single traffic camera that they would have passed somewhere along that 2 hour stretch that shows these two brothers alone in a car, their own car, driving themselves up to Bell Mountain. Yes, maybe I am alleging that there might be certain officers, law enforcement officers in certain towns and places in North Georgia that might look the other way when investigating crimes against young Black men. That's what I'm alleging. I do not know that to be true. I'm just asking some questions because it feels to me that you find two bodies of two young Black men on a trail they've never been on before, on a mountain that they've never visited before, on a day they were supposed to be out of town, and it's 2 hours in the opposite direction of where they were supposed to be going that day. On March 16th, the GBI medical examiner completed the autopsies, but has not released their full report yet. The family of Kadir and Nazir Lewis are pushing back. They do not believe the story. There was no reason to believe that these two had any sort of animosity toward each other. There's no belief that in this whole unaliving of another and then unaliving myself. So there's a lot more to this story. The family's doing the right thing by pushing back, but all of us need to push back too. This needs to be front page news because there's something super fishy happening here, and we got to just make sure that the police do their job.